Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Yeah, it's been quite some time since the last video, so you might be wondering, what's going on? Am I quitting YouTube? Have I quit, working on Steve-O? Have I scrapped him? Have I got rid of him? Well, no, I haven't. It's very much getting rebuilt, and there's going to be lots of videos to come on the car. Now, the reason things have taken so long, as I'm sure you're aware, is a global sort of supply chain issue. So, things which you would usually think wouldn't take too long can be actually quite slow. Now, a bit of the timeline really with Steve-O. The last video I was working on the car, you would have seen me taking the block that I got out of Steve-O and also a spare block what I had at the back of the garage, which had sleeves, tartan sleeves in it. You would have seen me taking those two blocks to the machine shop. Now I was hoping they would be able to say with the main engine that come out of Steve-O that the spun main could be welded and machined and it would be an easy fix. New bearings, new crank, pop the pistons and all that back together and send it on its way. But no. The block, although they did offer me a price to repair the block, I thought it was uneconomical. It wasn't really worth doing it, and that block then would have always been, a block with a weakness or a block that's been repaired, and I would never really want to put some serious money into an engine, that doesn't really have the best foundations. Now, the machine shop also had my sort of emergency block then, my backup block, because Evo 10 blocks they're quite hard to come by in the UK, and they're a bit more expensive than they probably are to, any of my viewers in the States. They're definitely, there's less supply, so the prices are a bit higher. So I had that backup block, which I had bought years ago, and the machine shop were then going to inspect that. So they finally got round to having a look at it, and they told me that I need to bore it out to at least 87.5 mil because it's already been bored previously, which I knew. So to get a fresh block, sleeve block, fresh deck, everything, really good foundation to build the engine, it would have to be bored to 87.5 mil. Now, I had a bit of communication with Ross Sport. I'm sure you know Ross Sport. I go to them for nearly all my Evo parts, and it's very difficult to get 87.5 mil pistons. In fact, they didn't even have any listed under any of their suppliers. So the next step really was 88 mil pistons, and the only supplier that really had 88 mil pistons listed were Wiseco. So I basically put my order in for the Wiseco 88 mil pistons, which would bore out that sleeved block to a 2.1, and they took the best part of probably 2 or 3 months to get here. Now, that was literally just Wiseco. It's sort of like the biggest bore piston you can really go on an Evo 10. So, they probably don't sell a lot of them, and it was pretty much a custom order. And I'm imagining they make the pistons in batches. They probably take a while to get back around to 4B11T. So it did take a couple of months for those pistons to be made. And then as soon as they were dispatched to Ross Sport, they got them to me within a few days. So that's pretty much what I've been waiting on. Now I have got the pistons here. There they are. We'll take a look at them later on. But I'll just quickly run you through my plans with the engine build. What spec am I going for, and what's my sort of thought process going in to this build. Now, generally speaking, I would say I would have just bought a crate engine and been done with it. If you're talking a Subaru, you're talking like what, 4 or 5 grand for a crate engine. But the Evo is a whole new ball game. To just buy an engine fully built, fully decked, fully sleeved rather, cams, pistons, stroker, everything, you're talking like 20 grand, plus, which is just not something that I could really justify. Plus I thought if I got that much money into an engine, I'm not going to want to actually push it too hard. I'll be too scared of blowing it up. And I'm quite, you know, of the mentality that I'll build an engine, you know, I'll push it hard. If it blows up, well, I'll rebuild it. So that's my sort of mentality. Now, the build spec list then. I'm recycling quite a lot of parts, what I've already got. They're all in perfect condition, or they would not be getting reused. So we're going to be reusing the Bridgeway I-beam com rods. I've got a replacement com rod to replace the spun one, which Rossport have again supplied me. And they are balanced basically due to the weight of the com rods, because each com rod's got to be within a certain spec weight of each other. So I'll be manually balancing that com rod, just so they're all within 0.01 grams, as I did before. With the block, as I mentioned, we'll have the dart and sleeve block bored out to 88mm. As I said, I am recycling that, but you know, it's perfectly usable, and it will be bored out to a 2.1. Yeah, Wiserco, as I said, Wiserco forged piston kit, 88mm pistons. Now the head, we're going to be using ARP head stud kit again. ARP actually say you can reuse those head studs up to 5 times, so I've only used them once, so I'll be reusing them, saving a bit of money there. We got the Jun 272 cams, they're still pretty much brand new, they look immaculate. We got the brand new Supertech dual valve springs, titanium retainers, and I think that's it. We'll be reusing the ID 1050 injectors. So with regards to the engine itself, it's pretty negligibly different power wise. We're talking what, 5% more torque from the 2.1, but really it's going to be a stronger engine. So we'll have forged pistons and the dart and sleeves in the block, so it should be a bulletproof bottom end when it's done. Now the main thing that is going to be a power adder to the car is going to be the turbo kit. So I am thinking of changing that turbo out. The turbo I had before was a Turbo RS GTX 3582 spec turbo. When I chose that turbo, there was a lot of hype in the UK scene. A lot of the American Evo owners were claiming these mega power figures, but a few people now in the UK have fit them and they just don't seem to be everything they were cracked up to be. So, you know, don't get me wrong, the car was fast, but I had to put a lot of boost through it, a lot of time in, and you know, it just wasn't flowing and performing quite as I'd expected it to. I'm going to go down the route now of a JMF turbo kit, again supplied by Rossport, or rather purchased from Rossport. I'll be going JMF hot side and cold side, and then using a Precision 6466 turbo. So that's the plan at the moment. That turbo should be good for well in excess of 700 horsepower. You know, some people make it 800. And when people say like that turbo makes 800 horsepower, it's not some guy on Facebook claiming it like they'd make that power. You know, it's tried and tested. Whether my car will stay in one piece if we send it to that sort of, you know, boost level, that's another question, but it won't be the turbo holding the car back. But yeah, let's take a look at these pistons. I've got to actually, like I said, clean up the ARP head studs, make sure everything's there, what it's got to be, pack it up, and then it'll be going off to the machine shop first thing Monday. So hopefully, as soon as I get them, I'll have my engine and we can get going on the build. But yeah, let's take a look at the pistons, because they're a nice looking piston. Okay, so here we have the piston kit. I'll just open it up. Now, what I quite liked about this piston kit is I've had pistons and piston rings in the past, And surprisingly, they didn't come with like ring gaps and stuff like that, but the Wiserco, it comes with the most thorough way of calculating what your ring gap should be. Different power levels, different applications, what fuel you're using, whether you're using mild boost, high boost, nitrous, and different combinations. So pretty impressed with that. Let's take a look at the piston. Oosh. Almost dropped there. Oosh, there's the piston there. So yeah, a nice piece of aluminium, I think it is, forged aluminium. Can't wait to you know, get the engine back together now. So as soon as those pistons arrived, it just ignited that spark again, you know, the motivation to get the car running. It's looking pretty sorry for itself. It's been sat here blown up for, in total, probably 7 months, 8 months, and it's been in bits for 4 of them. So yeah, I'm glad to get it back together now, and hopefully things should start happening now. Basically, my goal is to get the block back and assemble the short block. That's my immediate goal. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.